12 interactive stories. So right now we are going to interact with the first story. Okay, please, I need your help, your participation. Let's go. The story is about an expert fisherman. This story is about an expert fisherman. Okay, here we go. The first step is to know that we need to establish the meaning of the main words of this story. Okay, can you help me, please? Fisherman is easy. Yes, fisherman or fisherman. What is fisherman in this? How can we? What is the definition of fisherman? Fisherman, someone who?
A person who fish.
Yes, who fish or who catches fish. That's very nice. Very good. Especially as a job, yes. Next, the second word, boat.
Boat is a mean of transportation.
Yeah, a small vehicle, yes, for traveling, obviously on water. Yes, very good. Next, shore.
Is the place where boats arrive?
Yeah,
Or
that's
a beach.
yeah, beach, the land, along the edge of the sea, right? Yes. The next word, net. Net
Is the tool?
Something to catch.
yeah, something.
Like a web.
Yeah,
Yeah.
web. A material made of threads. Yes, of threads. Rope. Fish. It's an animal
That lives in the sea.
that lives
So we eat.
That
in the
is
water.
delicious.
Yeah. Okay. Basket. The basket.
The content
To carry
Yeah.
fish.
Very nice. A light container. Yes, open with a handle. Yes, with handle. Great. Okay, those are the easy words, the principal main words for this story. We are going to use these words in our beautiful story. Okay, let's remember. This, it's
Fisherman.
Fisherman. Yeah. Next, it's the boat. See, a small vehicle. Next, the shore. Remember, we have to remember that shore.
Shore.
Okay. Net. Remember the net. Fish.
Fish.
Basket. Remember. Okay. We
Basket.
have to remember. Okay. Now, let's go with the action words that we are gonna use in this story. Action words. Okay. Here we have lunch. What's lunch? You remember? What do you know? Definition of lunch. Something. Or the action or to send something out. Yes. Lunch. Something out. To send something out. Lunch. Next, other action word for this story is shout. To speak with a loud voice. Yes. Shout. The other main word, the action word is drag. What's drag? To move something by pulling.
Put it under water.
To other
Or
place.
bring it.
From water to the surface. Yes, from water to the ground. Drag. Next word. Yeah, that is, it is used to say that something exists.
Existence of some, very good.
That's nice. Select.
To choose?
Select, to choose, yes? To choose something in small numbers, to choose. The other word is throw out. To remove from a place. Throw out. Throw out.
Let's check it.
And finally, to put. Yes, put to place in a specific place or a specific position. To place. Okay. Now, let's go to the to this interactive activity. We are going to match the action words with the nouns right now. Let's match the action words with a noun. Example, a fisherman, lunch, what? Lunch, the net, yes, into the water. A fisherman launched the net. Yes. What about with the action word shout? Can you help me, please? Can you make a sentence with this word? Shout. The fisherman or the fisherman shout happily. Okay, drag.
The net
The net, yeah,
was dragged into the water.
was dragged into the, yeah, on the ground. Or the fisherman dragged the net. The fisherman dragged the net to the shore. Yes, the fisherman dragged the net to the shore. That's great. And next, there are different types.
Okay.
Yes, there are lots of fish. There are lots of fish in the net or in the basket. Select the fisherman. The fisherman selects the good fish and the bad fish. Yeah, select the good fish and they put in the basket. Throw out. The fishermen throw out the bad fish and they put the good fish in the basket. Okay. Next. And now, let me tell you a story about the fishermen using the words we studied. Okay, let me tell you the story about a good fisherman with the words we used before. Okay, the first, let's go. The fishermen, there are fishermen, the fishermen launch a net. Here we go. The fishermen launch a net. And then one fisherman shouts happily, good news! A fisherman shouts good news. Why? Because there are many fish. Yes, and that is. Next, the net. So the net is full of fish, full of fish. The fisherman drag the net. After that, the fisherman drag the net to the shore. The fisherman drag the net to the shore. And there are different types of fish. There are different types of fish. And so they select the good fish and the bad fish. They select the good fish and the bad fish. They put the good fish in the basket. The fisherman, after that, put the good fish in the basket. And what happens with the bad fish? Here we go. And they throw out the bad fish. And now, questions. Let's go again. The first sentence. Questions. Okay, help me please. What do the fishermen lunch? Easy question, right? Easy question. What do the fishermen lunch? And try to answer with a complete sentence. What do the fishermen lunch? The fishermen
lunch a net.
lunch a net or the net. Okay. Who shouts happily? Students, yeah, okay. Who shouts happily? Obviously, a fisherman. Yes, a fisherman shouts happily. And then the net is full of fish. The fisherman dragged the net to the shore. Questions. Who dragged the net to the shore? And the answer, the fisherman dragged the net to the shore. There are different types of fish. what do they select? What do the fishermen select? The fishermen select the good fish and the bad fish. And then, what do they put in the basket? The good fish or the bad fish? And the answer, the fishermen, or they put the good fish in the basket. And what happens with the bad fish? The answer, in a complete sentence, the fishermen throw out the bad fish. Now here we go. This is reading. This is step number 3, reading. An easy reading. Yes, okay. Please help me reading. Can you read, please? Can you help me? Reading the text.
Some fishermen in a boat launch a net. After a few hours, one of the fishermen shoots happily, "Good news! The net is full of fish."
Very good. Next, please.
The fishermen drag the net to the shore. One of them says, "Oh, there are different types of fish."
Very nice. Next, please. Volunteer.
The expert fisherman says, "Let's select the fish we want." The other fisherman asks curiously, "How do we do that?" The expert fisherman says, "It is not difficult. Let's put the good fish in the basket and throw out the bad fish."
Very good. Thank you. Now, step number 4, activities after reading. We are going to complete as fast as possible these activities. Match the phrases to make sentences. The fisherman lunch, obviously. So here we go. A net. The fishermen drag the net to the shore. A fisherman shouts, "Happily, good news!" Now, order to make sentence. Let's order here. They select
The fish.
the fish they want. Next, they throw out the bad fish. Very good. Finally, this is the most or the main activity for this method. This one. Do you remember picture number 1, picture number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So let's tell the story, and you have to help. Yes, help me, please. Oops. So, okay. Let's go with the first. The fisherman lunch. What? The fisherman lunch.
The net.
The net. And then after that, a fisherman shouts happily,
"Good news!"
"Good news!" Very nice. And after that, the net, number 3, the net is full of
Fish.
fish, different types of fish. After number 4, the fisherman drag
Drag
the net to the
Shore.
shore. Very good. And then number 5, oh, there are different types of fish, or
fish.
different kinds of fish. Number 6, and after that, they select the good fish and the bad fish. They select the fish. This number 6, picture number 6, they select the fish. In number 7, they put the good fish in the basket.
The basket.
Yeah. In number 8, they throw out
Throw out
the bad
Bad
the
fish.
bad fish.
fish. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. And now, Okay. Storytelling and interactive reading method. Okay, for oral production and comprehension. So storytelling and interactive reading methods. Okay, this study was carried out as a research project supported by the research department and human science and education from Universidad Peruana de Unión in Peru. It was an experimental research. This was a research. So here, this study reports the effectiveness of storytelling and interactive reading method to improve speaking and reading skills in English as a foreign language at a public institution of primary education in Juliaca, Peru. Okay, and we worked with 22 students during 7 months with just 12 stories, 12 interactive stories that were carefully adapted for 12 years old children or 12 years old students. Each story contains 4 steps. Do you remember the story? We interacted through 4 steps. In addition, they contain 3 images painted in watercolor to enhance the illustration for each story. In order to measure the efficiency or efficacy of this method, we used a non-parametric statistical method. And for the data analysis for the results, we used a descriptive statistic. And then this is the book that contains 12 interactive stories. This is the book. This is the first story, second story. We interacted with all of these stories with children, with 12 years old students for primary school. The school was outside the city, in rural. It was a rural school. Yes. Here we have other different stories. There's 12 stories. So now let's go. Let's continue. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here there are some professors, some authors that support this story, this method, the storytelling and interactive method. Kalantari and Hanshermian support. He wrote, they worked with the similar method, yes, storytelling approach to teaching English to young EFL Iran learners. Okay, it says, so yeah, here, yeah. They say, when applying the storytelling technique, the classroom environment changes from boring to interactive, obviously, because students like stories. They like to interact. Yes, each one is. They like listen. They like listening some stories. They like. And they say, when applying storytelling technique, the classroom environment changes from boring to interactive. So it will help students to improve cognitive process. What about the other authors? Next, please. Ray and Seal. Okay, they wrote this book, is Fluency Through Storytelling, through TPR and storytelling. Yes, they wrote this book, and they say, second language acquisition, second language learning, and acquisition happens when we understand the message. Yes, when we tell stories, our children, our students, they are they they they, they are they're willing to listen the story. So when second language acquisition happens when we understand the message. So the result of a good English speaker as a second language comes from listening. Yes, listening. We listen. We have listened to the story. Yes, from listening and understanding. Just two principal things, topics. Just first, for acquiring second language acquisition, just listen and understand the message. Those are the first steps on language acquisition process. Then, Larsen, do you know Larsen? She wrote this book, Techniques and Principles in Language Teaching. Yes, she wrote that book. Diana Larsen, do you know? Okay, Diana Larsen says, a person can acquire the second language, in a natural way. So a child can learn a second language in the same way through imperatives or through orders, commands their parents ask. She says that listening and understanding and obeying commands. Through those actions, a child or a student can acquire a second language. Next, crashing. What is crashing? Say about this topic, storytelling. Okay, he wrote many books. Yes, crashing is a psychologist. Yeah. Okay, he studied a lot about second language acquisition, first language acquisition. Okay, he says, we acquire a second language. This in simple words. Yes, we acquire a second language when we understand what we hear and read. He says that we acquire a second language when we understand what we hear and or read through different activities. Jan, okay, he wrote this. He studied storytelling as a teaching method in second language learning classrooms. He says, teachers must be very effective in motivating participation. Yes, motivating participation. This method, storytelling method, encourage our students to participate, to be active, yes, through acting, listening, answering the questions, yes, storytelling method. Okay, he says, teachers must be very effective in motivating participation, providing joy, and pleasure that helps their achievement, and making connection in events and concepts or in contexts that will allow students to understand and remember what they hear. Asher, he's the founder of TPR. Yes, TPR is very known for English teachers. Asher says, oops, okay. It imitates the way a baby learns for its first language. The language enters the brain through the right hemisphere, where understanding of language is stored. Speaking is stored in the left hemisphere. It is low stress. And then, now questions. Here we have 3 photographs. Okay, remember, my proposal, my research, my study is about storytelling and interactive reading. How does it start? How does it roll? Let's go with the first author, Asher. Asher started with TPR. He is the creator of TPR, of Total Physical Response. All English teachers know him as TPR, Asher. And then after TPR, Ray Blaney started with TPR and he added S. S for storytelling. Yes, S for storytelling. Ray Blaney used a lot. He is a professor. Blaney is a professor. He teaches Spanish to Chinese students, to Japanese students. He teaches Spanish. He is a professor. And he used a lot TPR. And then he added letter S for storytelling. And this is my photograph. Okay, the third one. Yeah, okay. We studied a lot. We are a group of teachers, or English teachers, that we worked with this experimental project. We read a lot about second language acquisition, and we established, or we added letter I to this method. We added letter I. TPR, Total Physical Response, Storytelling, and Interactive Reading. This I for interactive reading. We added that. Okay, that is the process. That is why I'm telling you about this topic right now. So let's go. How did storytelling and interactive reading? Storytelling and interactive reading is the same as TPRSI. It's the same. Storytelling and interactive reading. How did it start? How did it born? How was it born? Sorry. Okay, let's go. TPR from Asher. TPR, Total Physical Response, for James Asher. He says that the purpose of TPR is to create a brain link between speech and action. Yes, speech and action. Orders, yes, speech and action. To boost language and vocabulary learning. What about TPRS, teaching proficiency? Yeah, he changed, yes. Ray changed, Total Physical Response plus storytelling. He changed the title, the topic, the method, and he proposed this. Teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling is Blaney Ray, storytelling. He started with, he used, in his own method, he used 3 steps. Okay, the first step is to introduce new structure, new words, and the second is to develop the story. That is the natural steps. First, introduce new structure, new vocabulary, and then they develop the story through questions, interactive story, and then finally they read the story. Those are the 3 steps. Now, this method, I am talking about this method, TPRS and I, storytelling and interactive reading. We added 1 step, the 4th step. The first step is the same as TPRS, establish meaning. The second step, spoken class story. The third step, reading. We have read, you remember the story, yes, reading. And finally, you remember the last activity, Okay, activities after reading, different kinds of activities after reading. So we work with these 4 steps. What else? Asher, Ray, and me. Okay, here we go. Let's talk a little about these steps. Ray, TPRS. Delaney Ray establishes 3 main steps. Remember, the first is to introduce new structure. It means vocabulary. The second step is to develop the story. Tell the story. Tell the story. And the third step is reading. Okay, based on Delaney's sequence, this research, my research or our research, storytelling and interactive reading method proposes to add in each step some interactive activities. We added in the book, in this book, here's the book. Okay, we work with these storybooks. There are 2 books. We added some interactive activities for each step. And then the result is this. The first step for our method, for the method I am talking about, is the first step. We have used didactic and illustrated activities to understand the vocabulary of the story. The second step, we added the summary of written histories, separated in sentences. Yes, they added. Each sentence has its own picture. Then we are going to see that. In step number 3, it is given the presentation of the story completely illustrated. And number 4, the new step for this research, for this project, is this activity will help the student to connect previous knowledge because they will remember the story. It will be easy to identify the topic they have studied, to review. Okay, this is why review is important. Oops, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it says, Hearn and Garces supports the 4th step. He says, the importance of a regular general review is something that every successful teacher knows. A review, a review is a very essential part of everyday classes. So here we go. This is the 4th steps of our proposals. Yes, the first step, do you remember? The first step is establish meaning. Here's the book with different activities. The second step is spoken class story. The story is the story. The third step is reading. And the 4th step is activities after reading. Remember, this method is for children, it's for 12 years old students. And what else? Let me show you a little about the results of this research of this project. Remember, we used pre-test and post-test for this study. Okay, before applying the experiment, this method, the mean or the average score of our student was 14. And after applying this experiment, the average score was 60. There is a big difference between the pre-test and the post-test. Okay. SER, remember SER is storytelling and interactive reading method is based on 4 main principles. It has principles. This method has principles. The first principle is to make the class 100% understandable. 100% understandable. The story, yes? Doing different mimics, activities, asking questions, translating in Spanish or saying the definition of the words, acting, okay? It has to be 100% understandable. And then principle number 2, the emphasis on frequent oral repetition of the story. For example, who launched the net, and the student has to repeat in a complete sentence. The fisherman launched the net. The common or the answer can be the fisherman, just that. Who launched the net? The fisherman. It's okay. But, we need constant repetition. The fisherman launched the net. The fisherman launched the net. Acting, yes. And then principle number 3 says keep the class as interesting as possible. We have pictures, we have videos, we have many things with this book, with the books, picture, original picture. Okay, the pictures are are similar as the context here in Peru. Next, keep the students interacting, obviously, acting with the story. They need to listen and to talk and read, yes? The first step is to listen, yes? Understand, listen. Okay, so that's all. Finally, this is the conclusion. When we finish working with this experiment, the general average of language skills has been presented. A significant difference of means between the pre and the post test. At a 95% confidence level, findings yield that students can understand conversations. That was the results. They understand conversations and instructions. They can tell short stories using pictures. Sequence pictures, they can right now they can tell stories using pictures in a sequence, and they can answer personal information. Thus, we demonstrate right now that the effectiveness of this new and ambitious method at the beginning level of the second language acquisition process. That's it, that's all. Thank you very much. These are some photos about my students. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you to you, teacher. So we have some comments here on the chat. I'm going to read one of them. Naomi says, I like so much your purpose. In fact, I made my mind for this comments because about how storytelling fosters the development of decision.
I'm sorry, please. Can you repeat that again, please?
Yes, Mr. Of course. Naomi says, I like so much your purpose. In fact, I made up my mind for this conference about how storytelling fosters the development of children's skills English acquisition.
Okay.
Well, if the audience has any question, this is the moment. Yes, we have some minutes to ask questions or any other comment to the teacher.
Meanwhile, teacher, I want to ask you something. What was the criteria for choosing the material for reading? What was, because I see that it is like contextual, like cultural, I can see in the picture. What was the criteria that you used for choosing, yes, this is my material, or not, this is not useful for this study.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, I couldn't understand you very well, but okay. The criteria of choosing selecting these stories, the cultural, the context is we have studied. We are a group of researcher teachers. We have studied a lot about these authors. The authors we talk about. For example, here in this book, we used the context, the original context of our students here in Peru. My students are from rural school. They are not into the city. They are outside the city. And for example, here, I don't know if you. Yeah, this is the second book. Well, okay. This is the context, the culture. This is well here. For example, the clothes. Yes. This is the context of those students. So this is the context. The clothes, the pictures, the images are the context, and students were immersed in this context.
So I'm sorry. So what I understand is that you design these stories.
Yes,
For
we
them.
decided.
They were totally contextualized.
Yeah, yes, we decided that. We decided thanks to this method.
Teacher, there is another question here. How long did you apply this method to be measured the development of the students from Lorena Ome?
Yeah, we worked with for 7 months. 7 months. Yes, 12 stories for 7 months. Each story about 2 weeks. 2 weeks for one story because it has 4 steps. We work 3 hours a week, and it was an unforgettable unforgettable experience with these children. It was very unforgettable.
I have a comment. I am a big fan of creation. I think it changed my whole perspective in teaching when I realized that the most important was that they got a message and not every single word that I was saying in class. And after creation, I also moved to teacher design materials. So what I want to say is, first, thank you for sharing your work. It's very interesting. It's very nice to see how teachers devote their time to contextualize materials for students so they feel identified. And I really feel that it enhances not only language, but also reading comprehension, but also love to reading because they're actually reading something they find interesting, meaningful, useful. So just congratulations. As I said, I'm a big fan of teacher design materials. I think that's the best way we have to approach our students and so they can also approach learning. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yes, and teacher, there is another question from, do you have some online storytelling tips?
We're working with that. Not yet. We're working with that. We are working with that. Right now, we don't have.
Okay.
Good morning.
And
I would like to ask a question. Is it possible?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, very good presentation. I really like the use of storytelling in the classroom. I have been using storytelling for some years at university context, and our main objective in this with this technique is to develop listening comprehension. And I would like to know what is the major emphasis when you are using this kind of strategy in your classroom. Thank you.
Okay. interacting, yes, interacting with our students using the first step, using the first step. The first step says establish meaning. It means to do the activities as understandable as possible, just using pictures, using mimics, acting, the teacher and the students acting. Yes, that is the main principle of this method. It's acting, showing the pictures, interacting with students and teachers.
Well,
Another comment on the chat, another comment. Lorena Gomez says, thank you. It's great the context of the story because it implies the environment of students.
Okay, thank you.
well, I think time's up. Thank you very much, teacher, for being part of this 55th edition of As a Copy in these concurrent sessions, and thank you to the audience to be here. Remember that again in the afternoon at 3 and at 3, 5, and at 4 we have the next concurrent sessions.
Okay, I would like to share this book, this material in PDF. Write me or write.
Okay, great.
Write to this email. I am sending you my email. Write. We are teacher. We need to share our experience, our productions.
Or
I will feel glad, happy sharing these materials. Okay.
well, thank you very much,
PDF,
teacher.
the 12 stories, yes, all the book I will send you. Okay, write me. That is my email.
Okay, teacher, thank
Thank
you.
you so
And
much.
to the audience, remember that here in the chat there is also the link to do the evaluation of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Goodbye.
thank you so much.
Bye,
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 nice to meet
Adriana.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edmelda, Carolina, Edgar, Daniela. Thank you so
Fran,
much to be
Miriam.
here.
Audience is many meaningful.
Yes, I think that it was a lot of audience here.
Yes.
Yes, teacher, you
Because
were
actually
very campaign.
storytelling is very interesting. I found it like at one of the methods that you can use as a teacher, and not only with children, you know, but also with adults even. Yes, storytelling.
Teacher Edwin, sorry,
Yes.
I would like to text you because I am in a project about storytelling and another type of gender. Yes, it's for becoming for make that the students become more like attentive to the reading. Is just a way to be like the initial stage for reading, for more complex reading. So I would like to text you by email for asking you please some tips or some material, some extra material, and some authors. If I have the possibility to quote some words from you, I would be glad for doing that. So I would like to say thank you a lot. It was a
Yes, of
good
course.
guidance for me.
Okay. Yes, I'm willing to share the experience, the culture here. Yes, obviously. Yes, please write me. I will answer you. We are going to interact. We are going to share each one. Yes, we are teachers and we need to share, yes, experiences, materials, culture. Yes, obviously, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Actually, Mr. I have a base with a lot of storytelling, fairy tales I would like to share you. And but it calls my attention that yours it was very cultural. So it's
Yeah.
a plus factor. So, but I would like to share you if you need in any case.
Okay, yes.
Thank you to you, Daniela and Laura Vanessa, Gisette Magdalena, Lorena Ome. Thank you to be here.
Mm. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you, teacher. The microphone.
Le iba a decir que esperar nuestros correos. Pero bueno, cuando los reciba. Apenitas para vos.
Cayó.
Estuvo buenísimo.
Ah, súper. El teacher fue súper.
Yo le quería preguntar, pero ya tantas personas estaban preguntando que me dio pena no preguntarle, no dejar a los demás participar. Porque él todo lo contextualizó primero el territorio, pues, geográficamente, y también porque es para niños. Pero yo creo que con adultos también se puede hacer algo parecido. ¿Sí? Porque igual, yo siempre le digo a mis estudiantes que cuando les pongo videos o cosas, yo les digo, esto puede parecer para niños, pero es que es muy adecuado para el nivel en el que estamos, porque cuando uno empieza una lengua, uno prácticamente es un niño en esa lengua.
No, de hecho, los estudios que se realizan acerca de los storytelling y de los géneros textuales, los aplican primero para aprendices de L2, no importa la edad, y los aplican también en teenagers, no importa la edad, pero sí son muy apropiados para los aprendices de L2. Sí, y por gusto también se han aplicado muchos estudios en universidades, especialmente en Oriente. En Japón se han aplicado mucho este tipo de
En el del otro año, Isabel presenta el de ella.
Ay, no, Dios te oiga.
Claro, mija. Bueno, yo creo...
Pero me dejó aterrada que, o sea, él se echó 2 semanas para trabajar un libro, lo que me dijo la profesora Liana. 2 semanas.
Vamos a... Quedamos las dos. Yo creo que ya él queda guardado y...
Bere, me lo comparte, por favor.